He was born into wealth, but raised in a lie. Loved deeply by a woman who wasn't his mother, and betrayed by the man who was his father. In a house built on secrets, one boy's faith, silence, and strength will uncover a truth so dark, it could destroy everything. This is the story of Calvin Crown. A story of love without blood, evil masked as family, and a legacy that was never meant to be his. The hidden truth of Calvin Crown. Calvin Crown was born into wealth, privilege, and everything money could buy. The Grand Crown estate stood like a castle, shielded from the world by high walls, luxurious gardens, and silence that often masked pain. Calvin was the only child of Crown James, a billionaire tycoon known for his ruthlessness in business and mystery in his personal life. But Calvin's mother, Esther, had died when he was just a newborn, or so he was told. Years later, when Calvin was just 10, Crown James married again. His new wife, Anita, was unlike anything the world expected. Gentle, nurturing, and full of inexplicable love for Calvin. She had 2 children of her own, yet her affection for Calvin surpassed them both. She prayed with him, shared with him, loved him like her own, and Calvin, a deeply spiritual and kind boy, embraced her with a heart wide open. As the years passed, Crown James began to notice something strange. Why did Anita love Calvin more than her biological children? His questions turned into suspicion, and suspicion into confrontation. One night, Calvin was walking down the hallway when he heard muffled voices behind the master bedroom door. He paused. "You think I haven't noticed?" Crown James growled. "You love that boy like he's your own flesh. More than your own children." Anita's voice cracked through tears. "I love him because he's not mine. I love him so that when he learns the truth, it won't destroy him. I love him so he will not hate the world that lied to him." Calvin's heart pounded. Crown James sneered. "Don't act righteous with me. You think I don't remember how we got here? I killed Esther for that inheritance. I sacrificed her to the sea witches. All for power. And we made a deal. You were supposed to just play your part." A gasp. Then a sob. "You monster," Anita whispered. "You killed her? The woman who carried that child with love? You want to kill him too, don't you?" Silence. Calvin's body gave out. His knees buckled and he collapsed with a loud thud on the marble floor. The sound echoed into the master bedroom. Anita flung the door open, her face twisted in agony. "You want to kill this one too," she screamed, rushing to Calvin's unconscious body. "You've already murdered his mother. Is this your plan now?" Crown James stood stone cold, showing no remorse. "He was never meant to live. I let him live. Be grateful." Calvin lay still. Hours passed before he awoke in his room, bathed in the golden glow of the evening sun. Anita sat beside him, weeping silently. The moment their eyes met, she broke down. "I'm sorry, Calvin," she whispered. "I never wanted you to find out like this." Calvin didn't speak. He just cried. Moments later, Crown James entered the room, his presence dark and domineering. "Leave us," he ordered Anita coldly. "You're not his mother." Anita stood, wiped her tears, and was about to leave when Calvin reached out and grabbed her hand. She looked back, saw his trembling lips, but still, no words. Only pain. Crown James leaned close. "She deceived you, Calvin. She's not your mother. She never was. She just wanted your inheritance." But Calvin turned away from him. Years before, the lost history. Before all this, Crown James had a best friend, Erickson John. They were brothers not by blood, but by bond. Erickson loved a woman named Esther, and their love was pure. Esther became pregnant with Erickson's child, Calvin. But Crown James had also fallen in love with Esther. Consumed by envy, he orchestrated an accident. Erickson was killed in a hit-and-run, his body lifeless in the street. After the funeral, Crown James began to comfort Esther. Grieving and alone, Esther leaned on him. He offered her security. Slowly, painfully, she allowed him into her life, unaware of the truth behind Erickson's death. But when she gave birth to Calvin, everything changed. Crown James saw not a child, but a reminder. A child that belonged to another man. One night, in a fit of rage, he shouted, "I should kill him like I killed his father." Esther, horrified, collapsed. Her heart gave out from shock. She died instantly. But there was a silent witness. A hidden security camera captured every word. At the funeral, Esther's brother, Elijah, grief-stricken, found the memory card while collecting her belongings. He watched the footage, and learned the truth. Crushed by guilt and rage, Elijah devised a plan. He asked his fiancée, Anita, to infiltrate Crown James's life, marry him, raise Calvin as her own, and protect him at all costs. It was a sacrifice driven by love. Anita agreed. She bore children for Crown James to protect her cover. But her mission never changed: protect Calvin, raise him with love, and someday reveal the truth. Back to the present, justice. That night, Anita stood tall in the Crown Mansion's grand living room. Crown James sat smugly with a glass of whiskey. Anita stepped forward. "It's over, James." He chuckled. "Is it?" She pulled out a remote. A hidden projector came to life, playing the old footage of James confessing to Erickson's murder, Esther's death, and the Sea Witch deal. The door burst open. Police stormed in. James stood, roaring in anger. "You traitor!" Anita, with tears in her eyes, turned to Calvin. "You needed to know. He destroyed your real parents. But your real family, your uncle Elijah and I, we never left you." James was arrested that night. The legacy. Days later, Elijah called Calvin into a quiet study. On the table were stacks of documents, deeds, and bank statements. "This," he said, "belonged to your father, Erickson John. You're his only son. It's all yours now." Calvin stared at the papers. Tears welled up again. But he shook his head. "No," he said softly. "Give it to her. Anita. She raised me. She protected me. She loved me when she didn't have to." Elijah's eyes shone with pride. Calvin turned to Anita and took her hand. "You're the only mother I've ever known. This is your legacy too." And in that moment, despite the shadows of murder, betrayal, and magic, love stood taller. This story teaches that love is not always bound by blood. That truth may be buried, but it always finds its way to the surface. That even in the darkest secrets, light can still shine through the heart of someone who chooses to love selflessly.